Hi, welcome back. I am Danae and this is Cooking with Vincent Price. As of the day that I am recording this, it is Christmas Eve and we are in the middle of a hard freeze here in Austin, Texas, which means that you will possibly hear the sink to my left dripping so the pipes don't freeze. I already had a frozen pipe yesterday, and you may hear the heater kick on. I'd love to turn it off for better sound volume, but we're not out of freezing yet, and it's really cold. I'll try my best to edit around any kind of strange sounds that may be happening, but just know there is a rhythmic drip, and that is my sink, so my pipes don't freeze. Today, I am going to make Welsh Rarebit, and it is from a treasury of great recipes, and boy, he has some opinions on Welsh Rarebit. In the book, it is called Welsh Rabbit. I have always heard it referred to as Welsh Rarebit, and he has a whole paragraph on the name of the recipe alone. Without reading it verbatim, I am going to give you his sage advice, which he says, "This is a good dish, whatever you want to call it. Only whatever you call it, please do make it with beer instead of milk." I am editing the recipe a tiny bit, so I'm going off and altering, but only in two ways. He does not specify what kind of bread to buy, only to remove the crusts from 4 thick slices of bread. So I have a loaf of sourdough bread. I thought that that would be a good idea to do, and I was able to get a gluten-free loaf and not slices, and so this is a sourdough bread. We'll see how that goes. The recipe also calls for it being made with beer or stout. And if I had had a little more forethought, I would have gone to a brewery here in town called Lazarus Brewery, and most of their beers are gluten-free. Technically, they are less than 20 parts per million of gluten. And I really should have got a beer there, but I didn't. So what I have decided to do is I'm going to make this with hard cider. My initial kind of Googling research of a Welsh Rarebit recipe does have some that are made with a cider, so I don't think that it is going to be that far off. So I am going to go with Austin East Cider's original hard cider. So that's the only changes that I'm making, other than I'm also gonna split the recipe in half. So let's get going, but first, friendly reminder that I am not a chef and I am not a cook. I am a Vincent Price fan that is cooking her way through his 3 cookbooks to see how they taste in the modern time into a modern palate. The recipes are not my own, they're Vincent's, or they are from chefs that Vincent received recipes from, so I'm not going to be saying them verbatim because there's a little something called copyright. Yeah, let's get going. You know, I don't think I've had sourdough bread in a very long time. Toast and keep warm. I decided to go with Barber's 1833 Vintage Reserve Cheddar. It is a British cheddar. The recipe calls for half a pound of grated cheddar cheese. I'm gonna cut this in half, so let's shred some cheese. In typical me fashion, I can't find the box cheese grater, so this cheese with this grater. You would think that I would prepare more, but you would be wrong. What we have done is I have shredded some cheese. I have an egg yolk that I have separated from the egg white. We are just using the egg yolk for this. I have a tablespoon and a half of butter ready to go, and I toasted the sourdough bread. Smells good. It should be good. I am not expecting anything weird to happen. So now we are going to move over to the stove, and I have to figure out how to make a double broiler, which I've never done before. He specifically says to do this with a wooden spoon. So I'm gonna melt some butter. It doesn't say to add the cheese a little at a time. I'm just gonna add it all in and we're gonna melt it and see what happens. Stirring in the ale or the beer slowly until it is smooth. I have the stove on low. This is actually working a lot better than I thought it would. But also, this is not very thick. Is it supposed to be thick? Is that going to be a difference between my using beer and my deciding to use cider instead? Does beer thicken things? No, Danae. Beer probably does not thicken things. This is the egg yolk. And it says in the recipe to basically continually stir and not to let the mixture boil or it will become lumpy and thready. I don't know what lumpy and thready mean. Okay, I also don't know if this egg is going to scramble or not. This is paprika and cayenne. That's mustard. Couple of things. I'm pretty sure that my egg scrambled. The recipe itself, if you have kept stirring steadily over low heat, the rabbit will be satin smooth and creamy. I mean, you cannot see. It is. In hindsight, a sourdough bread might have been a bad idea. I probably just should have done a plain bread loaf. It's very tart, it's very mustardy. The recipe does call for dry mustard. The original recipe is half a teaspoon of dry mustard, so since I cut it in half, I only did a fourth. And it's very, very mustardy. The sourdough bread was a bad idea. I think that it is lending to some of the tartness that I'm tasting. I suppose it's also possible that some of this also could be the cider. It's okay. It is just not to my taste palette. It's too mustardy, it's too tart. It's fine, but I don't think I'll do it again, even with different bread. It's not a recipe fail. It's just not one that tastes good to me. So I will see you next week with the new year, and I'm going to be making a black eyed pea recipe because that is apparently good luck for the new year, and I think we could all use some. Welsh Rarebit or rabbit contains no rabbit, a lot of mustard. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.